This meeting shall come to order June 25th, 2014 at 6:03. Will the clerk please call the roll this evening?
Adams.
Here.
Jones. Here. Sepharadi.
Here.
Jackson.
Here.
Brownlee.
Excused.
Trojanski.
Here.
Agee. Albers.
We have plenty of legislation tonight. We have several things that are third readings. Hopefully we can move forward and we'll pass the third readings or not and move on to some other ideas. There are also a couple of, you should have another meeting, amended meeting notice in your hand. And if you note that we did schedule a meeting on the 8th with the Nita from the auditor's office. She will be coming up on that evening at 6:30. We're hoping to do 6:30 by the time we get through some of the legislation. And then we have Irene will be bringing her information forward the next day. So we'll be prepared with questions on the 9th.
No, the 7th is the public hearing, so we have to have
7th, 8th, and 9th, right? Okay, so let's move on to the legislation, please.
Ordinance number 2014-25, an ordinance requiring the clerk of council to deliver to the Cuyahoga County Board of Elections proposed amendments to Article 7, Section 1, and Article 17 of the Charter of the City of Maple Heights, decreasing the members of council and the number of districts to 5, to be submitted to the electors at the November 4th general election, and declaring an emergency.
Now, this ordinance is on its third reading. Is there any discussion or amendments? Anthony?
Madam Chair, and members of council, I know there was an issue of $4,000 going towards the city engineer for the redistricting and proposing it to the voters beforehand. I really don't agree with that because I would rather see us see what the voters have to say and then spend the $4,000 instead of doing it the opposite way.
Okay. Well, that wasn't a part of this whole piece of legislation. It was just a discussion?
Right.
Okay, all right, just to clarify. Is there any other discussion? May I have a motion for adoption, please?
So moved.
Second.
Alex? Is there any further discussion, please? Call the roll for adoption.
Adams.
Yes.
Jones. Yes. Sepharadi.
Yes.
Jackson.
No.
Trojanski.
No.
Agee. No. Tie vote. Albers.
Yes.
Will be effective in 30 days. All votes. Ordinance number 2014-26, an ordinance requiring the clerk of council to deliver to the Cuyahoga County Board of Elections a proposed amendment to Article 3, Section 1, and Article 7, Section 5 of the Charter of the City of Maple Heights, eliminating the elected position of President of Council to be submitted to the electors at the November 4th, 2014 general election, and declaring an emergency.
This ordinance is also on its third reading. Is there any discussion or additional amendments that we'd like to propose?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Jackson?
just have a question. If this one ends in a tie, who does the tiebreaker for this hand? It has to do with the president.
I truly believe that, and we've gone around and around with this again and again, the residents and the people who elect us have the opportunity to voice their opinions. So I wouldn't stall it for that reason.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to get a legal opinion on that. You would be voting on something that would directly affect you or the position for a tiebreaker?
I don't know. Mr. Montello, do you see a conflict here?
No. I mean, if there was, what were we going to do? I mean, the rules are and you can break a tie if there is a tie, so.
Okay, but thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Jackson.
Madam President,
Go ahead, Alex.
the way I see it and read it is the president yourself, 2016, the presidents can either vote for a council president or against the council president. They're not voting who, so she has no skin in the game.
Okay. May I have a motion for adoption, please?
So
Second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Call the roll.
Adams,
yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Safrati,
Yes.
Jackson,
No.
Trojansky,
Yes.
Agee.
Yes.
Passed as an emergency with 5 votes. Ordinance number 2014-44, an ordinance directing the clerk of council to certify to the Cuyahoga County Board of Elections, to the Board of Elections, a proposed amendment to Article 7 of the Maple Heights Charter to be submitted to the electors on the November 4th general election and declaring an emergency. This is the tax credit.
Right. Now, this ordinance is on its third reading, and we had talked about an amendment last week, and we had quite a bit of discussion on it. I think it's time to amend, discuss, pass, or yea or nay. Alex?
Madam President, we messed up a little bit. We agreed with the mayor to go from 25% to 55%. I'd like to make a motion to amend the tax credit from 100% to 50%.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll.
This is a motion to amend this legislation from 100% tax credit to 50% tax credit. Adams,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Safrati,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Trojansky,
Yes.
Agee.
Yes.
Now, we need a motion to adopt.
May I have a motion for adoption, please?
So moved.
It's Trojansky and Jackson.
Discussion.
Discussion, please?
Madam Chair, with the new resolutions that are before us, also proposing different millage and same thing, tax levy, I don't know how we're going to decide on this piece of legislation without hearing from the other two, because otherwise we're going to have 3 tax levies in the ballot, and it's a lot easier if people vote no, 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 than to decide, unless we're going to decide between all 3, if the other 2 pass for.
We have a motion on the floor at this point, so it's either yea or nay. If you,
Or also we could withdraw legislation or not yet.
I don't think you can do that at this point.
Withdraw it? Well, no, I don't know, because if we vote on it, we're going to be voting on it.
Again, you have to make a decision. If you're going to even consider the other possibilities, this one either has to be voted down, and the other one considered.
We'd always make a resolution amending this or repealing this before September. You'd have to.
So what's the suggestion is that we go ahead and vote in 2 different opportunities here, and then at some point, take one off the ballot? Is that what we're considering? Is that what we're thinking?
That's what I was thinking.
Any other comments here? I don't know. I don't see a reason why we can't do it. We can always take it off. Is that correct?
To repeal it?
You can always repeal. Sure.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Jackson?
I think the biggest thing, and I'm one, was for having multiple different things on the ballot. I think the most important thing when you do that is to educate the electorate. And that's with town hall meetings, mailings, that kind of thing, so they know why they're there, what they're there for, and explaining to them why it's required at the last meeting.
So to clarify, you are thinking that we should keep both of these?
Yes. Or at least look at the numbers of them side by side later on and decide.
We have Richard moved and Ron seconded for adoption.
Any further discussion? No? Okay, call the roll, please.
For adoption, Adams, Jones,
Yes.
Safaradi, Jackson,
Yes.
Trojansky,
Yes.
Agee. Yes. Ordinance passed by the vote 5-1. Resolution number 2014-46, a resolution amending resolution number 2013-55 and directing the finance director to transfer all existing and future funds assessed and collected for the garbage and rubbish collections in the city, from the solid waste collection fund to the general fund in the city of Maple Heights and declaring an emergency.
This resolution is on its second reading. We could suspend the rules if you'd like to move this forward. No? Okay. Yes? No? Okay. All right, move on.
Resolution number 2014-47, a resolution amending resolution number 2013-55 regarding the special fund known as the Solid Waste Collection Fund 251, specifying that payments from this fund be designated only for the payment of garbage and rubbish collections in the city of Maple Heights and declaring an emergency.
This is also on its second reading. Is there any discussion? Amendments? Suspension? Okay, second reading.
Ordinance number 2014-48, an ordinance amending section 220.01 of the codified ordinances regarding the rules of order for council in the city of Maple Heights and declaring an emergency.
This ordinance is on its second reading, but in order for us to have a little more time to bring this forward to discuss it, may I have a motion to postpone this final reading of the legislation until our August meeting, which would be the third Wednesday in August.
So move.
Mr. Jackson, Mr. Adams.
Okay.
Is there any discussion on this? Call the roll,
Madam
please.
Chair,
Oh,
are we going to have like a committee of the whole meeting just to talk about this in the future?
We could, yes, absolutely, but we need to get over all of these other meetings before I wanted to get a little bit of breathing space before we got into it. And that will give you also a little time to bring forward some of your ideas for inclusion.
Adams, Jones,
Yes.
Safaradi,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Trojansky,
Yes.
Agee.
Thank you.
Resolution number 2014-49, a resolution declaring it necessary to levy an additional 1.3 mil tax levy for 5 years for the purpose of current expenses and general operations of the Maple Heights Senior Center pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 570519 and requesting that the county auditor certify the total current tax valuation of the city and the dollar amount of revenue that would be generated by the additional levy and declaring an emergency.
Now, this is the first reading, and this is the one that has to go down to the auditors. So yes, if you'd like to think about suspending the rules, we can do this and move this down so that they would bring back the actual amount that we would be generating here. Yes,
Madam President,
go
I
ahead.
suggest that we move it downtown because get a meals on time.
So that would be suspension.
As possible.
Okay, yes. Anyone else? Go ahead, Ron.
Madam Chair, sending it down there and to get the amounts, is that the same as saying now that it's going to go on a ballot? or-
No, not at all. This one and the other
51.
and 51 are exactly the same.
Okay, just want to clarify.
Thank you. So that we have, it's like giving us permission to do it, more or less. So
Once we get the numbers, they'll be inserted into the other one.
Madam President,
yes,
do you have any idea of what the turnaround will be?
that I
Once we
don't
send it down,
know.
how long it will
Usually,
take to collect the
the
information and
turnaround.
send it back?
Usually it's the finance person who does that, correct?
What do you mean the turnaround?
To get
To get
this
the
information
data.
back.
Oh, well, it's all done by email now. I mean, when the last time we did it, when Eric was here, we got it in a couple days.
Yeah.
So we should have it by the next special meeting.
Okay. So may I have a motion to suspend the rules and place this resolution on its third and final reading?
So moved.
Trojansky and Adams. Is there any further discussion? I'm hoping, are we understanding what we're doing? Okay. Call the roll to suspend, please.
Adams,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Sephardi,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes,
Tujansky,
Yes.
Ag.
Yes. Now may I have a motion for adoption?
Second.
Good. Is there any further discussion? Call the roll for adoption, please.
Adams,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Sephardi,
Yes.
Jackson,
yes,
Tujansky,
Yes.
Ag. Resolution passed 6-0. Resolution number 2014-50, a resolution pursuant to sections 5705-19 of the revised codes, of the Ohio Revised Code, submitting to the electors of the city of Maple Heights on November 4th, 2014, at the municipal election, the question of an additional 1.3 mil tax levy for 5 years for the purpose of current expenses and general operations of the Maple Heights Senior Center and declaring an emergency.
This resolution is on its first reading.
Resolution number 2014-51, a resolution declaring it necessary to levy an additional 4.7 mil tax levy for 5 years for the purpose of current expenses and general operations of the city pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 5705-19 and requesting the county auditor to certify the total current valuation of the city and the dollar amount of revenue that would be generated by the additional levy and declaring an emergency.
Again, this would be the piece going down to the auditors again. So may I have a motion to suspend the rules and place this resolution on its third and final reading?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Call the roll to suspend, please.
Adams,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Sephardi,
Yes.
Jackson,
yes,
Tujansky,
Yes.
Ag.
Yes. Now may I have a motion for adoption?
So moved.
Mr. Jackson, Mr. Trojansky. Discussion, please. Call the roll for adoption.
Adams,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Sephardi,
Yes.
Jackson,
yes,
Tujansky,
Yes.
Ag. The resolution passed 6-0. Resolution number 2014-52, a resolution pursuant to sections 5705-19 of the revised code, submitting to the electors of the city of Maple Heights at the November 4th, 2014 municipal election, the question of an additional 4.7 mil tax levy for 5 years for the purpose of the current expenses and general operations of the city of Maple Heights and declaring an emergency.
This is on the first reading as well.
Ordinance number 2014-53, an ordinance amending section 24005 of the codified ordinances of Maple Heights regarding the approval of council expenditures in the city of Maple Heights and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Adams?
Madam President, I would like to withdraw 2014-53 expenses approved by council to $500 due to our obligations on all these meetings. And I will resubmit after August 8th, ordinance 2014-53.
Okay,
Thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
Adams? It's a motion to withdraw and bring back at a later date. Adams? Yes. Jones?
Yes.
Safari?
Yes.
Jackson?
Yes?
Jajanski?
Yes.
AG? Yes.
now, we were anticipating the finance director coming in this evening.
Yes?
So do we want to take a break or no? At this point, we were anticipating the finance director coming in with some amended appropriations. That she perhaps is on her way. Mayor, could you possibly email her or text her or
She
Eileen?
texted me at 6:10, said she'd be here, leaving in 10 minutes. So
Okay, all right.
if
Well,
you
we'll
want to
just,
recess for 5 minutes, maybe she'll be here by then.
okay, yeah. You want to get up, get a drink, use the facilities, and get up? Yes, please. We finished our business a half hour ago, so we. Yeah, okay, all right. If you'd like to go ahead. Do you want the microphone?
We're not
I think
holding a
no.
meeting
I
after
think
we
we're,
waited 45
we've got
minutes.
meetings and meetings all set up here, I mean, so we're good. Would you like the microphone?
Well, please speak loud then, because we have no other microphones.
How's that?
Okay, good evening, everyone. What I passed out was a draft copy. Like I say, these, of course, will have to be tweaked. I gave you a revenue and an expense. And I'll also pass around the current cash statement, just so you can see where we are. And that may help you with the discussion as we go along. And also, what we're going to discuss is the general fund tonight. The other, I will tweak and I'll send it to you, or we can discuss it at the next meeting. And I marked them draft because if you don't have a copy.
There's none of copies. Would you agree? Is that what you're wrong?
No, no, it's not.
Oh, now we have one.
Well, they see that we have one else. So the charge was to revise the budget, the appropriation for 2014, which we will do. Usually it's the general fund, the other funds are self-adjusting, the special revenue funds. It's the general fund that we usually have to review and try to tweak with the balances. The cash sheet that I passed out, you'll see where we are to date in terms of the different funds and their balances. Do keep in mind that the outstanding encumbrances go through the end of the year, and the revenue is only as of this date, so the large balances at the end of the balance sheet are not at this point. So, if you want to take a look at the revenue sheet, the first one name actual resources from 2013 so that you'll have a comparison to the 2014. The 2014 column is the original budget that we had prepared back in March. The next column is just showing the difference that we had made from the 2013 budget. And it's entitled 2014 Estimated Resources versus the 2013 Actuals. The next column that you have is the 2014 Proposed Revised. And then the last column shows the difference between the original estimates and the ones that's being proposed tonight. So, I think you're probably familiar with the document. As we go down, like I say, it's the general fund that I would like to focus on tonight. And the general fund dollars for 2013, the actuals, and they're unaudited, so they could possibly change, is the $12,618,067. Does everyone see that number? And the 2014 projected revenues were our original submission to the county, the $11,782,186.17. The next column is just to show the difference between the 2013 and the original 2014, which is $835,000. And, you know, we had gone through this at the last meeting, so I'm not going to be able to go through that. It's just here for information and for your review, so that when we come back together, or if you have questions in the meantime, you can email them to me. The next column, 2014 revised, are the projected estimates for this budget that we're working on now. And you'll see that it's slightly less. It's $11,765,256.17, which is $16,000 less. And what I had done was I looked at the actual revenue that had come in to date and projected from that, being very conservative. The next number that's been added to this, you'll notice halfway down the section where it says the traffic camera fees, I projected $400,000 for the 4 months left in this year, September through December. I think that the estimate that had been tossed around from the gentleman that did the presentation was several $100,000, but I thought we'll start with the 100 just to see how it goes up to start. So therefore, there's no previous budget number to associate with that. So that's a new item. And then, like I say, the rest of them are just adjusted as we have received monies to date to reflect the activity. So the proposal is $11,765,256 for the general fund. And we're only speaking about the general fund. The other revenues are below, but like I say, those will be tweaked for the special revenues. And those numbers are usually self-balancing. So as the revenue comes in, you know, there's expenses that's associated with those. But it's the general fund that I want to focus on. Are there any questions about the revenue? And like I say, you know, you look at this is a working, we need to work on it. And I guess get back to the questions or the rest and then go over there. But like I say, the biggest change is in the camera. And then also, we know that for the reader, I increased that by $127,000 based on activity to date. In the month of May, we received a couple $100,000 less, but that didn't appear to be the forecasted trend for the rest of the year. But I did reduce it.
Say that again.
Reader, which is the second one, we had originally $6,400,000 based $400,000 based on the 2013 actuals of $6,500,000. But as we discussed at our last meeting, in May was like about a couple $100,000 short. So I reduced about $187,000. because it didn't appear that this month there was a reduction, so we'll follow it.
Thank you.
And then, like I say, we will have to do an amendment, a final amendment at the end of the year, once, come November or December. So you'll see the ones that went up or went down.
I just have a question. If we were short almost $200,000 for Rita, and you don't see that happening for this month, wouldn't that be a question as to why we were shorted that much and if it may happen again?
Yes, we had a discussion about that, and the explanation that was given, that was on the back of the annual filing from April, and there was a result for folk that may have prepaid their monies, and, you know, when they prepared their taxes in April. So that reconciled and rolled out in May and June from the tax filing from April 15th. So that's a thing, that's an annual occurrence. He says sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, depends on how people estimate their taxes. So that was basically the general information that he had given in regards to that. And that was at one time. That's not expected to happen throughout the year because taxes are being filed. It could happen next April again. You know, when taxes are filed.
So is there a history of that? I mean, did this happen last year also?
No,
I mean,
it did
so
not.
it didn't. So
And
this is just
there's
the
no
first
way
time.
of telling. I mean, it's when the
Okay.
taxes are actually filed and they're reconciled, but they'll know if they have to refund monies back to the filers or people have to pay,
We have no control over it.
and we don't
Right.
know.
Okay.
And we will receive an additional $36,000 in July, because that's when Rita does his reconciliation of the fees that they charge the prior year. So we'll be getting an additional $36,000. So that's why I could say, I took it, reduced it by 127, but it's really hard to say, you know, what it might be. And so, you know, like I say, the minuses are reductions, and of course the positive numbers are where I added dollars. And then also in the fines and forfeitures, like I say, right above the traffic minimum, that was reduced. Again, I was looking at how monies had come in, and it was less than, and this was as of the May financial statements. So if the dollars were less than budgeted or projected, I reduced it slightly, but it doesn't mean that we may not get the dollars. I just thought I'd be more conservative since we didn't want to go into the hole anymore.
Irene,
Yes.
with regards to the traffic camera fees, where did you get the 400,000? How did you calculate that?
Well, I calculated it at $100,000 a month for the last 4 months of the year, starting in September. Because when I talked to the rep, he seemed to think that money should start flowing here in August, and at a high amount. You know, he quoted several $100,000. I just thought that I would be conservative until we see how it ends up. So it's for 4 months at $100,000. And then the permits were up, so I increased that about 30,000 from the building permits. So you'll see the pluses and minuses. And like I said, you know, when you look at it, you know, email me, of course, you can add, or if you have some. And another big drastic, if you notice, in 2013, the railroad retribution, the $111,000, I did not put that in there. I have not seen any activities for that were substantial.
No, that should probably be deleted, that whole fund, at this point in time.
It is not a separate fund, it's in the general fund,
Yeah.
so we just won't use it, it'll just sort of take away. And then the other income also, from the prior year, it was like $312,000. And so we had, you know, budgeted dollars there also.